Hello there, friends, and welcome to Strangers in the Night, your late night source for VR gaming talk. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Eric
What's up, fellas?
and my good friend Roots. Roots, 'twas the night before Thanksgiving, and when I really, you know, everyone in the states knows that this is the holiday where we take a moment to stop and give thanks for all the blessings in our life. And when I think back and I look at all of the uh, bountiful blessings that are bestowed upon us today, at the forefront of my mind, and the thing that I'm most grateful of is that tomorrow we finally get to play after the fall. After all these years, we finally get to play the latest from Arizona Sunshine developer Vertigo Games. I'm pretty excited for it, bro. What about you?
I am super excited about it, and actually, I don't know. Somebody must have said something in the comments of our last video. We were thinking, and it was kind of the way everything was worded, right? That this after the fall is for everybody. The 48 hours. No, man. When I started looking at the Quest store, and I was like, wow, I don't. I double or triple checked it, and I was like, oh shit, there is no mention of this 48-hour thing. And then I heard you mentioning it to Eric in the Discord, and then so it turns out it's only for PlayStation VR and for Steam, and Steam is the only one that's getting the Turkey Day access, and that makes me glad that I got it on Steam. And you know who else picked it up on? And this is not a joke. Wolveraza. So Wolvie's going to be joining us tomorrow on Turkey Day as well. That's awesome. There's going to
Nice,
be a bunch of
nice.
people rotating in, and it's going to be awesome.
That is awesome. So, what Roots is saying here is true. When we reported on this on Sunday, I was using a big fat dose of assumption, and you know what happens when you assume, right? So, uh, to clarify one more time, all of those features that I said that you get for pre-ordering after the fall, those are, I mean, you only get all of that stuff if you order it on Steam. And this kind of goes back to our Valve episode way back when we broke down the lawsuit between Dark Cat and Steam. Remember, one of the things in that lawsuit says that Steam always has to have the best deal, right? And this is just another example of that. Steam gives you access to a playtest tomorrow, which, for those of you who are interested, you'll get access to the first run of the game, which you can play on the first three difficulties. I think the maybe the overworld hub, the like the multiplayer hub, and then like the 4 versus 4 head to head. So there's going to be a play test that starts at midnight Eastern time tomorrow night. So basically, 24 hours from now, we're all going to be blasting zombies. Um, Once you move on from Steam to PlayStation, everything's pretty much the same except for that Thanksgiving Day playtest. So you don't get that playtest, but on PlayStation, you do get the 48 hours early access. So instead of this thing unlocking on the 9th, it will unlock on the 7th. Now, if you're getting it on Oculus Quest, you don't get early access at all. But what you do get is you
Crossbuy.
get cross buy. So you get
Screw-
it on PC as well.
you
Yeah.
get screwed, is what you get, basically.
Yeah, so that's not gonna work. That's not gonna.
You get
Nobody's
screwed.
gonna buy it on Steam, so they could. Oh wait, I did. So they could get it early. You know, I think it's worth it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna play mostly on the PC anyway, and I think it'll be. You know, one of the things you said earlier today, Wes, that really stuck out to me is there is no penalty for playing it tomorrow. You could buy it, you could play it for the first day and say, you know what, I don't like it, and you could play it 10 hours. You can return it. So that, to me, that's a good sign. That's confidence. They have confidence that people are going to hold on to the game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So I've pre-ordered this thing on all three platforms, Roots. Now I only
Hmm.
paid out of pocket for one. Obviously, I've got other means to take care of the other 2 keys. But I did go ahead and get it on Steam just so I could play tomorrow. And what you said is true. You can literally play the whole thing, play it for like 30 hours, and then get a refund on it. So that was kind of my saving grace. And I'd say that's a likely thing for me because I'm going to have it on Viport, which is Steam. I mean, the Viport copy is the Steam copy, and I'm going to have it on Rift. So I don't really need it on Steam other than to play early. So I probably will end up refunding that copy of it. But the important thing is that we're all going to be in there tomorrow night, blasting away these zombies.
Yeah.
Newsflash: 24-hour stream, Virtual Strangers.
Yeah, we're
24
starting.
Yep.
No.
That's another thing too is we are allowed to make content from the playtest. It's not locked down or anything. So I imagine that there's going to be like 50 after the fall stream starting at midnight tomorrow night.
That's is that midnight Eastern, right?
Midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific time.
Ah, sweet. So I can get in early at 10, right? Because I still got to work on Friday. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I can't wait. I'm streaming tomorrow night, and then when I'm done streaming, I'm getting my shit ready, and I'm going right into After the Fall.
So
Yeah, and after this thing gets a full launch the following week, we've got some cool content planned for you. If everything comes together like it's supposed to do, um, probably a couple 3 days after launch, we're gonna have an awesome video that you guys are gonna love. Just keeping fingers crossed that everything comes to pass. Really, it's all hinging on whether or not this thing launches on Quest 2 when it's supposed to. Like, I'm a little nervous because they're not giving early access, but that's telling me like they're thinking in their head maybe it's not going to be ready for that. And this whole thing that you guys know what I'm talking about that I've got set up, it all hinges on Quest. It has to be on Quest. So we'll see how it goes, but fingers crossed.
I don't know what Science trying to say. I was gonna say something else, but Science says Yorp Jarp Oman. I agree, Science. That I was just thinking that. But actually, Damo 9001 says he wonders how big it is. You know who else wonders how big it is? He clarified game size. Says Quest has a storage problem. I disagree. I think people who bought a 64 gig headset have a storage problem. I got 256. I got plenty of storage, but I do wonder how big it is. I don't think it's going to be maybe 30 gigs, 40 gigs. I don't know. I'm expecting like 60 really, on Steam.
There's really no campaign to this, right? So it's not like Medal of Honor where you had this huge long 10-hour campaign and then you have all the multiplayer on top of it. Here, this is a couple of this game really. If you're playing it by yourself, this game's 2-3 hours tops. This is all about the multiplayer. That's where all the beef is. So that's where I don't think it'll be anywhere near as big as
No one should play this by themselves. This is a game that is intended to be played with other people. If you play it by yourself, the game is going to give you AI bots to be your teammates. Like, this is not a single player game, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, this game is highly polished. I think this is going to be Half-Life Alex level of polish on a Left 4 Dead VR clone, which is amazing in its own right.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I definitely I think it's going to be amazing for sure.
I do too. And bots are bad unless you're playing with Techno Glitch, and then Technobot is better than Techno Glitch.
Techno Glitch is good.
Are you guys
Back for Blood? That was one of the things. Is that even in that game, I don't want to play. You know, I've got bots, but I would never play by myself. I want to, at least have one more person with me, right?
So.
What are you guys looking forward to more, PvP or co-op?
Co-op for me.
Co-op for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I was kind of disappointed a little bit when I heard that there was going to be PvP. Not that it's not amazing and really helps the value proposition of the game, but people love the PvP so much. I was really happy that I finally had a multiplayer game that I could go into with my friends, and I don't have to worry about being competitive. I could just go in and run go on the scavenging runs or do whatever it is that you're supposed to do in this game over and over and over again. But after a week, people are just going to be playing PvP in this thing, and it's kind of disappointing to me.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, it seems like that's a small part of it, though. It seems like the main part of it really is going to be the multi, the 4-player co-op, not the PvP. PvP is just like a little extra tack on they're doing, right?
Uh, well, I mean, I don't know, man. It was a surprise thing. Like they didn't reveal it at first. It was like secret game mode at first, and then they finally like laid it on everybody. Like it was supposed to be some kind of big deal. I don't know how involved it's going to be. Hopefully, it's just something they did because it wasn't very difficult to throw together. But it's going to. One of the things I found interesting when I was reading about the Thanksgiving Day playtest tomorrow, the community manager, Tamtu, um, he, he said that we will be paying very close attention to what you all are going to do tomorrow. So they're giving us a level to run with three different uh, difficulties, and the difficulties change the levels like significantly. So you want to do all three of them. But they also gave us PvP. They gave us both sides, and he said we're going to be watching very closely what people are doing tomorrow. And I think that's what he's talking about. I think he's going to see where people go first, where people spend most of their time, so they know where to focus their future support. So everyone, nobody do PvP. Everybody just go co-op the whole time, please.
We gotta go. We gotta go take some people out. I don't like it. That's pressure, Wes. Like, what if I want to sneak into some PvP? Like now, Wes will be looking at me. Mash, I don't know why Mash's camera is frozen. Mash, what's going on, man?
Am I really? I'm frozen.
Yeah.
Oh man, is it a good shot of me frozen, or am I like picking my nose frozen?
You're not picking your nose, thank God. But I don't know. I don't know what
Go
the
here.
I
deal
don't
is.
know. I'm not frozen in Discord though, right?
Oh
My camera's
no.
working in Discord.
Yeah. No.
We start talking about After the Fall, which takes place in frozen Los Angeles, and then all of a sudden, Eric's all frozen
It'll
out.
it'll probably switch in the next scene, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's all
Well,
good.
why don't we pick it up a little bit then and
Yeah.
try to get into our next thing? But before we do all that, let's kick it off the way we always do by saying hello to our friends in chat. Damo 9001 is in the house. Says I'd prefer co-op, but I'm not interested in zombie games, so not for
What?
me.
Oh man.
But William Wallace
How dare
makes
you?
a good point. William Wallace makes a good point. It's a free beta test. It's free. It's free, bro.
Yeah. Who
I
doesn't
get
love
it.
free,
It's
right?
zombies and all, but it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
My sister in the chat says, just wanted to pop in and say hello. Have a great show. Thank you much, sister. Have a good night. Travel Man 3775 says Mash is stone cold.
He is.
I
He's
am
stone
now.
cold frozen.
I can get naked now. Nobody can see me.
Radio Rut says, well, I'm just going to wait for the Viveport release.
What? Radio
Free beta test. Free, dude. It's free.
Well,
Which I get it. I get it. I get it. Bad karma, right? Bad karma to return the game. But my whole thing is this: if I have good karma from keeping it on the other two platforms, it kind of outweighs the bad karma I'm going to get from returning it on the one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I fixed you, Mash.
I see. I'm moving.
Yeah, he's moving. I'm excited, man.
You're so good. You know how to fix everything.
Yes, absolutely.
This the Game Cat is in the house. What's up, friend? Scion says, remember Stormland? I remember Stormland. Yeah. Yeah, Stormland was awesome, man.
It is awesome. Still awesome.
Got VR Legs is in the chat. I can play PvP elsewhere. That is true. You can play it everywhere, bro. Dark Angel, what's up, my lady? Thanks for stopping by. Mepper is in the house, as is Onakazi. Onakazi says he'll be surprised if it's over 12 gigs. That's pretty big for a Quest title, actually.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Who else is in the chat? I think that might be it, unless Spry Guy's up there somewhere.
He is.
Is he? Oh, there's Mr. Tasselhoff. What's up? Which Tass? He's already gone to bed. I'm sure he'll catch this tomorrow on the rerun.
How dare he?
I know. How dare you? Damo wants to know if Population 1 is still going strong. It is. It's still going strong.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely, still going even after the private rooms opened up. It's still chugging right along.
Yeah.
Wolveraza in the house as well. What's up, Wolveraza? Thanks for stopping by and saying hello. So, 3 games. Well, 3 experiences, and it's kind of cool what we chose to do this week, fellas, because we kind of ran the whole gamut, right? We had a pretty much purely interactive experience which is all about the sights and sounds and story that's told. We had another one that was kind of in between. It was close to being an interactive experience, but there was some light puzzling in there too. So technically a game, but a lot, uh, a lot of features and similarities to these interactive video experiences. And then we had one pure arcade style, you know, blaster arcade game. So we had a wide palette of titles that we played this week, and right off the top, I just want to say I enjoyed this week thoroughly. Just the wide variety of stuff we played, I thought was really awesome.
Yeah.
I was just happy I could finish 2 of the 3 titles. We never get to do that.
Yeah, that's very rare, right?
Yeah, it just never
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, that's me. I think we all finished the same 2, and I think I made it at least halfway through
I think
the other one.
Yeah, I probably did too.
Yeah, but I thought it was awesome. But anyway, why don't we talk about these on an individual level? And why don't we start off with The Secret of Retropolis? So this is a game, if I'm not mistaken, and I am talking out of my ass, so somebody correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think this was originally an App Lab title, which eventually ended up getting moved over to the official Oculus store on November 4th, just a couple of weeks ago. We did receive review access to this, so we want to thank the developer Peanut Button for granting us review access to it. And Eric, am I right about this? This was App Lab at first, wasn't it?
I think that's the case. Yeah, I think it was an App Lab game. It was originally a PC game. I think, right? Did it come PC
Yeah,
first? I think
I
it came
think it's on
PC
Steam.
first, and
Yeah.
then it went to App Lab, and then I think they graduated out of App Lab and jumped it up into the regular Quest store, which is kind of a celebration because it doesn't happen very often.
Roots, you can see why they allowed it to make the move, right? Pretty high quality storytelling going on here,
Oh
right?
yeah. I don't understand. Still don't understand what their criteria is. Should have never even went to App Lab, right? I think it was really, really cool. Like the story aspects, the way that they did it. It is interactive, like you said. There, I mean, there's. I even enjoyed some of the cutscenes. The way that they did it made me think. I wish that I could play a game this way. It looks so cool, right? So,
I literally said that too.
did you?
Hmm.
By the way, I recorded my playthrough of this for Patreon, so I'm going to upload that to
Oh,
them
wow,
probably tomorrow sometime.
that's
It's not
crazy.
going to be, all fancy and edited with all the bells and whistles, but I did hit record and turn my microphone on, and I literally said that. Like, I really enjoy the cut scenes, even though some of them were in like a, square rectangle. They had really great depth, and the art style. The art style was incredible in this because, um, it didn't have the most highly detailed resolution textures or anything, but the artistic style of it, the just the way that that they put the images together, it looked really good. It fit the theme, and I thought it looked amazing in VR.
Yeah, I was impressed by the puzzles. Like you
Yeah.
said, there was puzzling, and I was not expecting it. I was like, all of a sudden, having to. I kind of felt like, what was that one elevator one where, you're going up and down the elevator, grabbing
Floor
different.
plan.
Yeah, floor plan. I kind of felt like a
Yeah.
floor plan in a sense, and was surprised sometimes, at myself when I got right away, or when I was like struggling at something that should have been easy. But the story in general was kind of intriguing. So I don't know, man. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought the storytelling was the strength of it. The puzzles were cool too. You know, Eric, I got a very, very heavy I expect you to die vibe from this. Like this is very similar to I expect you to die, not only in the storytelling, but the type of puzzling that is in the game. I would say that this could even work as kind of a playable teaser to it, like a future sequel of I expect you to die. Only, instead of flesh and bone, the characters are all kind of these robots and it takes place way in the distant future, but it still has that kind of noir style to it. And I would say if you took, a couple, 3 levels of I Expect You to Die and took a little bit of emphasis away from the puzzling and put it more into the storytelling, that's probably the best way I could describe The Secret of Retropolis.
Yeah, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, they're extremely similar, especially the way that they set you up in the room, right? Like with I Expect You to Die, you're stationary, you're in one spot, and you have to basically work your way through that area from that one position. And the same thing here. You're basically stationary. You have these like retractable hands that can basically fly out and go across the room and grab any object and bring it to you. So it's a really good functioning game for people, getting into VR, just exactly like I Expect You to Die is, and I Expect You to Die too. They're perfect games for new people in the VR because there's no worry of motion sickness here, and I think that's why these games are so accessible. And this game is exactly like that. The puzzles aren't, they're okay. I mean, they're good. They're not real challenging, but I think they're fun. I like puzzles that you can solve, and you're kind of like, you're happy you solved them. I hate puzzles that are frustrating. So yeah, I didn't even really know there was going to be that much puzzling in this game. I really thought it was more of an experience. So it was nice for me to be able to see that and get a little bit of that feel, like you said, from I Expect You to Die. But it has a great story. You know what I mean? The story is a super like B film kind of cool story.
Yeah, the story is certainly the highlight of it. The puzzling, pretty much identical process to solve this as you would attack an I Expect You to Die level with basically looking around the room. Obviously, you're in a stationary position, but you can reach anything in the room. And pretty much if you can interact with something, then it somehow works into the puzzle. And, I took exactly the same approach to this as I did the sequel to I Expect You to Die, where I just went around the room and messing with everything. And, eh, once you find 2 items that are interactive, it pretty much clicks what you're supposed to do. I don't think I got stumped at all in it. But it was still nice to have something to do. It helped with the immersion and, it helped keep you engaged with the game. Roots, how long did it take you to work through this thing?
It was like maybe an hour and 20 minutes or something. Maybe I don't know. It wasn't that long.
Right, which not always a bad thing, right? It's nice
No.
to have something a nice casual VR experience like this that you can sit down, like in the amount of time that you would watch a television show or a short movie, be finished with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing. Not everything I play, I play for 35 hours. Not everything warrants 35 hours. Sometimes I want to go into an experience like this one. I literally saw it was 2 acts, got done with the first one pretty quickly, and I was like, oh, cool. I mean, I like what Eric said is I want to finish some things. This is, a little story, nicely done. I like it. Dark Angel says she's asking you, Wes, would you say something felt off balance with this title? Well, let me ask you this, Dark. You must feel that way if you're asking Wes. What do you feel like is off as far as that? And Wes, I guess what's your answer to that question?
I'm trying to think, man, because there wasn't a whole lot I didn't like about it. I feel like if it had been longer, maybe I would have gotten bored with it. But who knows? The story, if the story had kept going, it might have kept me engaged. Uh, but I kind of like that it didn't overstay its welcome here. I don't feel like it's overpriced, if that's what she's
Mm,
referring to. It's $13, which is I think a pretty fair price for it. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know either, but
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right. I think it has the right balance between story and puzzles. I mean, it's where I expect you to die 2 and 1 are more just puzzles and not real, not much in the way of story. This is probably a little heavier story and a little less puzzles. So, just comparative to that one, I would say, they're both probably a little out of balance, but I mean that's okay. It can be heavy on one and light on the other. It's okay. And again, I think this game is perfectly priced for the length that it is. I mean, if it was any more money and it was this length, it'd be too much. And if it was any longer, and you wouldn't maybe want to play it anyway. So I think it's right at the right price and right at the right length.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of Psychonauts, the Rhombus of Ruin. I don't know if you've ever played that, but it's similar in that it's mainly story driven with some very light, easy puzzling, and you know, before by the time you start it, it's over with. And again, there are a lot of titles you don't want to see that from, but I felt like this one was, for what it was, it was appropriately paced.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Eric, any weaknesses, any negatives? I'm really at a loss to come up. I mean, I guess the animation kind of gets choppy in a couple of spots on it. I mean, there's not really a lot unless you want to nitpick that I could say negative about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much. I mean, if this was a $20 game, then you could probably pick it apart all day. But again, it's a $12.99 game, so it's not real long. It's a cool experience. It's not meant to be photorealistic. This was I think Traveling Man said it earlier. This was made with Quill. The whole entire thing was made with Quill. So
That's
this is just a
amazing.
yeah, it's amazing the stuff they did with this. And this is a 3-man team, I think, that did this, right? Did you guys
That is
watch the
correct.
did you watch the end of it? I watched the end of it a little bit, and they had like a picture of all 3 of them sitting together, all 3 guys, and it was cool. And then they
Yeah,
had
so
they had all the artwork there too, which was cool at the end. I saw.
so there's a, after you beat it, there it unlocks a section called extras, and it has all the typical stuff that most games would call deluxe edition. So you get all this concept art, you get the whole soundtrack there for you to flip through. What I thought was another thing I thought was really cool about it is there is some variability to the campaign. That a lot of the interaction is dialogue based, and you do have choices to what you say, and it does affect the dialogue and the story on a very minimal level until you get to the end. The choices you make at the end are actually pretty impactful with how the thing ends, and there are multiple endings to this. So uh, if if you didn't quite get enough and didn't like how it ended the first time, like, well, let me ask you this. I'm gonna be interested. Uh, there was an obvious good way to end it and an obvious evil way to end it. Roots, which way did you go,
I always go good.
Eric?
I knew Wes would go bad, so I went good just in case. I
Wes
knew he'd do evil.
always
Damn
He
right.
would do
evil,
You
evil
damn
weasel.
right.
evil weasel, bro.
I'm
You
just
know,
saying, man.
who else loves the
I
evil
like that
weasel?
robot.
My mom!
Oh yeah. Oh wait,
Anyway,
that's
she was a nice robot. I felt like I put her in her place. So.
Well, hey, it was tempting though, right? I was tempted to go the other way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I gave in to the temptation. I
But
wanted to see what happened.
what's funny though is like people balk about the price tag and the length, but they'll spend almost $20 to go to a movie, and movies suck these days, and they're not even an hour and a half long. You don't own it. You can't go back into it. You're not in it. Like at some point, you kind of need to have the same thought process that Damo 9001 says. A 2-hour movie experience should be normalized. At some point that would just be great. You go into something like this, couple hours. I don't, like I said last show, I don't even need to be doing anything. Just take me through the experience. Let me sit there and eat popcorn like I normally would watching anything else. Don't even have to have my controllers doing anything. I'm all about the story, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some pretty good humor in here too. Like it wasn't just all straight up drama. The lead character, your character, actually is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some responses that you can give to like to just certain questions that are just give you they give you funny dialogue. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
And Damo
Uh,
9001 says, I don't think the average consumer has an understanding of how difficult game developing is. And I would say you are 100% correct.
Yeah, I would agree with
I
that.
don't think anybody understands it, but we want more. Give us more. And make it co-op. Could you make this co-op? I think that'd be
Make
kind of cool.
yeah, make it cheap too. Make it cheap.
Yeah.
Make it co-op. Make it 80 hours long.
Yes.
right. Because you owe me, bro. I gave you my money. So
Yeah.
Yep.
anyway, at the end of the day, this is an hour long story experience with some light puzzling. We shouldn't probably talk about it as long as the game is. So,
Mhm.
like, I don't think there's a whole lot more to say about it. We all enjoyed our time in it. It's not going to be game of the year or anything, but I like that we're starting to see some of these hybrid experiences that aren't really, you know, a game and aren't really an experience either, but sit somewhere in between. And I said it on Twitter the other day. One of my favorite things about VR today is how it's constantly melting the genre lines. Like,
Mm.
we see creative developers now that are bringing products to us that really don't fit into any one category. And I really love how our new technology enables that in ways that weren't available to us before.
Tech says
Yeah.
he's playing Yuki over this. I can't blame you. Although I say play them both. And
You can,
Damo, if you let us have access to your game, we'll check it out. That'd be cool.
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is he making fun of Yuki by saying that? Is he trying to say something
I
technologically?
don't know. I think Mash is about to go to blows with you, Tech, bro.
Oh, you're dead to me, bro. But
You
I
know
was
who
gonna
else is about to go to blows?
My mom!
Yes, she is.
Oh yeah. So you know what I was going to mention too was so the developers on their Discord, they already have like their second act to this already pretty much set. There's like a cliffhanger at the end, and
Yep.
these guys are already ready to put more out. And I don't know. I assume it'll be charged, or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be a DLC. They haven't really said, so we'll have to see how they work that out. But there's more coming from this one.
Man,
I'm
that'd be
looking
awesome.
forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm totally hooked in on this story. I know exactly what you're talking about with the cliffhanger. Yeah, it certainly seems like this is kind of a prologue, doesn't it, to a much deeper mystery that's going on somewhere in Retropolis. So I'm totally hooked and I'm totally down for the sequel. My question to you, Eric, do you want another bite-sized bit for $13, or would you rather put down 20 or 25 on a 3 to 4 hour slice?
That is an excellent question. I'm going to think about that for a second carefully. I'm going to probably say I don't mind this quick 10, 12 buck thing for a couple hours. I'm okay with that, I think. If they're going to give me little bites and they're going to be good quality like this was and a good story, I'm okay with that. I mean, 10, 12 bucks, 13 bucks, I'm okay with that. Give me a couple hours. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to spend 20 bucks and you give me 4 hours. I'm good. Give me 10, 12 bucks for 2 hours. I'm happy.
Roots.
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed it. I agree with Mash. I'd rather spend $12 here or there and get the experience. It's gonna be quicker. Let them focus on it. But how cool was that when you find that thing and then you go to the phone and I don't know, man. I
Yeah,
really
that's cool.
enjoyed this. I think it was done very well. The fact that it was made in Quill and brought to life is just perfect for everybody, right? Anybody that has a dream of making a game, this is a perfect example of get another couple friends and get it done. So
Yeah.
Did you guys find that Polaroid picture that vanishes in the air when you look
yes,
at it?
Yeah, that was cool.
yeah, that's
I
cool.
don't know
I
what that
wonder
was
what the
about,
hell
but
that was.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you
And
know?
Anyway,
Did you
I,
notice that the guy smokes instead of smoking cigarettes, the robot's smoking like bolts,
there were
like
so
like
yeah.
many.
melt.
There were so many
It was
cool
so cool.
things about that thing. I just want to know if anybody else felt dirty for not paying your rent. Okay, I wanted to pay my fucking rent and I had to waste it, dude. I wasted it anyway.
Well, you ended up well. Now I don't want to spoil it. Anyway, I agree with you guys. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind having like a 3, 4, 5 hour chunk, but typically what that's going to mean, especially with a 3-man development team, is that you're going to have to wait a lot longer to get it. If they want to kind of spoon feed us smaller bites for a smaller price, and we don't have to wait forever for the next piece, I'm all for it. So again, shout out to the developers here. I want to make sure I get their name right because I keep getting it wrong. Peanut Button.
There you go.
Thanks for allowing us to experience your title, and we can't wait to see more of this story. Find out what's happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm curious if there's anybody in the chat right now that hasn't played this but would like to.
What?
Because a little bird told me that we might be having an appearance of the lady herself right now. She's here. She's here.
She's so happy. Look at her. She's so happy.
She finally started taking her seizure medication, and she's it's working, and she's so happy about it.
Oh my God! I found my new favorite Oprah. I like this one's so much better.
Anyway, we've got a couple of keys here, courtesy of Peanut Button and courtesy of Todd. Shout out Todd for making this one happen. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
We got one for the chat. We got one for the comments. You know how it works. We're going to ask the chat a trivia question in a moment. First one to answer it on my screen gets a copy of The Secret of Retropolis. And if you didn't make it to the show live, we get it. We go on late. You too have an opportunity to win as well. All you have to do, subscribe, leave a comment saying that you would like to enter the drawing. And when we reconvene next week for the Game of the Month discussion, we will also be giving away the second copy of The Secret of Retropolis.
Hell yeah.
All right. Anyway, all right. I think I've got the question.
Shocker.
It's just going through stages.
Shocker.
Let me. I'm gonna get some hints here to go with it too.
I like it.
Just in case people don't get it right away.
I love that Wes comes up with the best questions. It's not going to be Baywatch. Wolverine.
It may be one of these days. One of these
Maybe
days.
it will be.
All right. So, for a copy of The Secret of Retropolis, name the 16th President of the United States.
Right on top. Somebody's going to get it too. I'm already typing it in right now.
Harding. James Harding. I didn't even know. Was he a president? I didn't even know.
Polk. It was Polk.
Polk. He was such a good president.
It's one of those ones that sticks out in the history books, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
This particular president was known for his stylish taste in hats.
Oh, is it Skrillex?
Yeah. Yeah, he does have a cousin that goes by the name of Skrillex. Traveling Man 3775 coming through with the correct answer. It was Abraham Lincoln. Of course it was Abraham Lincoln. Somebody says Abraham in every question that we ever ask. So I thought I'd make it easy.
So Simplex has a good point. We need to make the next one has to be based around Polish.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
That's a good idea.
Listen, Simplex, it really wasn't about knowing who the American president was. It was about knowing that every time we ask a question, someone says Abraham Oculus or Abraham Skrillex. It was anybody who's in our chat frequently knows what I was playing at here. It wasn't about American history at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, congratulations, Travelman 3775. You know the drill, buddy. Hit me up on Discord. We will get you your key after the show.
Hell yeah.
Woodrow Gilmore says Damo.
That's a good answer.
It's my favorite president. Anyway, what you may not, everyone knows that Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of the United States, ended the Civil War, freed the slaves. Everyone knows all that stuff. What they don't know is that he later went on to become the King of Mars.
Yeah, and
Ah,
he was really interested in VR. He just didn't know it yet.
and he was a vampire slayer.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that as
That is
well.
true.
That was true. I saw that movie.
Yeah,
That was a documentary. I saw it myself.
documentary. Yeah, yeah, I love that one.
It's so good. So good.
Anyway, let's lean a little bit heavier into the realm of interactive VR experiences because a new one is just about to hit Steam, and we had the privilege of checking it out today. Well, I checked it out today, and this one goes by the name of Biolum. Biolum, of course, short for bioluminescence, which is the phenomena that we see in animals which are able to produce light with their bodies. This is a completely underwater story, um, and I want to make sure I get the developer correct on this one because I didn't actually get this key from the developer. I got this from the publisher. So we'll shout the publisher out, but I also want to make sure that the developer gets some credit here too, because guys, I was pleasantly surprised um, with Biolum, not only in the quality of the experience, but the length of it. I mean, typically these things are 10, 15. If you're lucky, you get 20 minutes, but it took me about 30 to run through this one. What do you think about the length of this experience?
I thought it was perfect. I don't know. For me, I want to get into something like this. I don't want it to be too long. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I was the same way. I was like, when this hit, when it ended, which it kind of ended like kind of quick. I didn't even know it was going to end, and it just ended. I was like, you know what? Perfect. Get me in, get me out. I was like ready to get out at that point. Sometimes these things, like Wes said, most of them are short, but sometimes they go a little bit too long. Some of them that you maybe don't want them to go long. But I thought this one was perfect, man. This thing was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is coming to us by way of IKO, Reynard Films, and Prefrontal Cortex, which I think was the main developer on that, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to thank the good people at Estrella, who we've worked with before. They sent us access to Madrid Noir, which we really enjoyed that one as well for being
Mm.
super unique. And I feel like this one very much fits the same bill. Pleasantly surprised with the length of this thing. It was a nice half-hour chunk of story, uh, but even more so surprising than that, the subject matter. Typically, these things run into the realm of fantasy. Sometimes we get a little crime drama. We never really get dark sci-fi, which is kind of the realm that this lands in. I mean, this one was a bit different, wasn't it, Eric?
It was. It was. The atmosphere was super creepy. I mean, this game is so or game this experience was just so cool. I mean, you know what it makes me want? It makes me want The Abyss in VR. Remember the movie The Abyss? That was
Yeah.
such a good movie,
Yeah.
and if I could watch The Abyss, like, and if you could do that whole movie but interactive or at least an experience like this in VR, I mean that would be amazing. And I hope that this is where this is going eventually. I mean, it's probably not coming anytime real soon, but man, eventually I want this to turn into something. But yeah, you're right, man. You usually, like you said, you get like, detective things, or you get, experiences like that with these things, or it's like you're just in a house somewhere. This is the first time I think I've done one of these where you're going down to the ocean floor, and just the environment was so cool. It was almost more about the environment than it was about the story, right?
It was at least just as much about the
Mm.
environment, Roots. And how impressed were you with the visuals here? This was highly reminiscent of the PC VR version of Freedive or Triton Down before you get into the ship. There's that first little area where you sink down to the bottom of the ocean and then you run through the cave. This almost identical to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that it's had some really beautiful moments, right? Really dropped my jaw. Something that Damo says makes a good point. Says VR normies won't like this. People in general want replayability, and that's a problem, because at some point we're getting past that, and in some respects, VR is transcending into more areas, into media, and we're gonna get movies and TV shows, and like I don't know about you, I don't want an 8 hour, 4 hour TV show, like 30 minutes. People's attention span, dude. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't you have an episodic show? Or we're gonna have all of the things we enjoy on TV brought into VR in a more fantastical way. So I just think we need to get used to little things like this that are 30 minutes long, or an hour long, that are amazing. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'll say that. I mean, of course, there are times that I want more, right? I want something that I can really sink my teeth into, project that I really have to work at, and put effort and time into to accomplish something. But not always, man. I want variety, and that's the really great thing about stuff like this. Sometimes I don't want hardcore gameplay. Sometimes I don't want something that's going to take me multiple days to play through. Sometimes I just want to sit down for a minute. I've got a half hour to kill, and I want to kind of leave this world for a little while and go somewhere else. And this type of stuff is perfect for that. You know, um, we're covering 3 titles this week, right? We're covering Retropolis, which we finished. We're covering Biolum, which we finished. Covering ARK-ADE, which I played a good portion of. And typically, when we do 3 titles on Wednesday, that's all I play that week. But in addition to what we're covering on today's show, I did over 3 hours into the Radius last night. I've played probably another 3 hours of In Death Unchained this week.
Yeah.
And that's just off the top of my head. I'm sure there's probably even more that I got into earlier in the week. So there's certainly a place for this type of stuff, and I love that we're seeing more of it now with regards to these experiences. And I mean, I love a lot about this. I love that it's a little bit longer than your typical experience. I love that the genre is something we typically don't see in these types of experiences. And most of all, I love that this launches on PCVR with super high fidelity visuals and sound. Uh, I really enjoyed the quality level that they're coming and bringing to the table this time around.
Yeah, and that was another thing, the sound, right? I mean, I mean, the visuals were amazing too, but the sound, you know what I mean? You're underwater and the sound of like the bubbling of water around around your suit that you're in, and just even just the person talking in your headset, it was pretty cool the way if you turned, you would get like a little bit of different sound out of it from where your headset, from where your helmet was. Just little things, they just sounded really, really good. And I was super impressed with everything in here. And
Yeah,
William Wallace says, he says, "I love you, wife," was a quote from Ed Harris from The Abyss. And funny story, my wife has that tattooed on her wrist in my handwriting. I love you, wife. It's a
Really?
classic quote. I love that quote.
Yeah,
Good
crazy.
job. Good job, William Wallace.
like William. No, never mind.
Yeah,
Not going to go there. Yeah, the voice acting very good in this, as it would need to be. I mean, this is a pretty intense role. Both there's 2 characters in this, and they're both extremely intense by the time you get to the end of the story.
Mm.
Um, but we have world class actors here in Charlotte Rampling, which you may know from Dune, Dominique Tipper, which is one of the stars of Amazon's The Expanse. So they didn't spare any expense. And this is another trend that I'm just absolutely loving in VR. Not only are we seeing more of these types of experiences, but we're seeing Hollywood kind of embrace it with open arms. There's a lot of people who are taking these kind of jobs now voice acting jobs. And, it's been cool for a while to do voice acting in video games. To do voice acting in VR is kind of something different, though. It's not always a game. Um, now let's talk a little bit about interactivity here because it isn't a completely passive experience. Um, while you are on a rail of sorts, you do control the pacing of it. You swim forward at your own pace by using very rudimentary controls. Roots, do you feel like the interactivity added to the experience at all, or do you think it was just kind of a token thing?
No, I mean it kind of was. I mean it seemed like it was part of the story, right? Like even just the point of I don't know if you did, but I kind of went off to the side because it's kind of when you're kind of floating on that track there, you can kind of go the other way. And I went in and I was moving the flora around, and it was really cool. It actually made me feel like I was more into it. And like even though it's got this trajectory that it's showing you where you can go, that disappears at some point. And I was shocked about that. It just became even more immersive, and I thought it was cool.
Yeah, if I had any criticism of this game or experience, rather, it was that track. It kind
Mhm.
of, um, if you look, the swimming was head based locomotion, which is fine. It's what I typically prefer. But whenever you're looking straight ahead, there's always this red line track that you're supposed to be on, and it fits in the narrative because you have kind of this visor on with a HUD and someone giving you direction. So it wasn't that they didn't explain it away with the story. Of course they did. But whenever you looked straight ahead and swam, you always kind of swam up above that line. So it's always the most prominent thing in your field of view. And we're talking about a wondrous world at the bottom of the ocean that you want to be completely immersed in and take in every little detail of. But that red line kind of always in your vision until the last 10 minutes or so of the thing when it finally goes away. Um, that's probably my sole criticism of this. I did like Roots. I tested the boundaries because you don't have to stay on the rail. You can kind of get off the track a little bit, but they don't let you go too far. There are invisible walls. If you push far enough, they'll make you stop. Eric, beyond the swimming, as you can see in the video here, there were other interactive things, including this flashlight, and those were the things that I really enjoyed most about the interactivity because there are certain areas of this experience that you can't pass through unless you use your flashlight, and I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, kind of a little bit like Madrid Noir, right? Where you had
Yeah,
to use the flashlight a little bit. So these guys know how to use it and use it well. And yeah, I thought it was a great part. Did you guys use it on the descent um, down to the bottom?
little
I
on
used
and
it
off.
just to look around because you're just basically at first all you see is blue because you're near the top of the ocean, and as you get farther and farther, it gets darker and darker. And then actually, all of a sudden, at one point, you're almost surrounded by rock and walls, and you can barely make it out. But if you use your flashlight and just kind of like I turned all completely around in my cage that you're in, that you're being lowered in, just so I could see all the environments, and you can really look at the rock face on your way down, and that's the little stuff like that that's so detailed where they could have just put nothing there and been fine, right? But they kind of did that. So if you wanted to turn around and look around, you see that beam of light hitting off the rock
Mhm.
surface, and you see like the little, just the surface of the rock and the undulations of the rock, and it looks like it has depth. It's not flat. So yeah, I thought that was a super cool effect. The way you had to use the light, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the way you
Right.
have to use the light to get through certain spots is really well done. There wasn't a lot here, interactive. It really was the light and movement, which is okay. It's not supposed to be a game. It's supposed to just keep you kind of engaged in the story a little bit. That's all it really wants to do. And yeah, I think they could have got rid of that red line too. All they had to do is give you an indicator of where you had to be eventually to move the story along. You know what I mean? They could have done that by go here at this point. You know what I mean? If you got off your track, because
Yeah,
I
it
did
kind
want
of
to
made
move
it.
around. Yeah,
Right.
because I did want to move around, and what happens is if you if you don't look at the red line, you start drifting off to the left or right. And there's a lot of stuff to see here, so you could just go, all around if you wanted to, and just get rid of that and just give you a destination.
Yeah, they could just give you a waypoint, right? And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
it wouldn't constantly be all up in your face. Um,
It's not that far up in your face. It's funny. Damo says it looks pretty boring, and I instantly thought about watching like just I don't know. You ever been on a movie plane, airplane, and somebody's watching a movie, you don't have the headphones, and you're kind of trying to watch it, but it kind of looks boring because you can't hear the dialogue or anything that's going on in the movie. It's kind of the same
Exactly.
way. I mean, you're watching footage from a game that is story based. It's a story, so without the story, it may seem a little bit boring, but I really enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, if
well,
this was flat, it might be boring, but not in VR.
yeah, well, I'll just say this. It might look like this is just an underwater. This isn't the blue. Like if you've experienced the blue, I get it that that's what this looks like. That's not this. There is a dark story going on here. A dark, dark story. And Roots, if you wouldn't mind, if you can kind of flip it around and start this video over. I don't want to spoil the end for people because it really gets crazy at the end. Um,
There's Oprah.
uh,
She's back.
Yeah, love her.
But if you think this is just an underwater tour, you're dead wrong about that. You are dead wrong about that. That this is a dark science fiction story, and by the time you reach the end of it, it gets absolutely nuts. And let's talk before we move on a little bit about the ending of it. Did you guys expect it to go that far? I thought it was going to end twice,
So
and
did
it
I.
just kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because they black screen you for a bit, right? Like a
Yeah.
couple times they black screened you. Like I like because my headset battery was getting low at the end, so every time they black screen me, I'm like, oh shit, did my battery just die? And I didn't have any more Bobos batteries to switch out with, and so yeah, they black screen you for a while, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, and I'm like, all right, I'll just wait another second. I'll wait another second, and then it kicked in, and you're like, holy crap, more, and they did that twice. So I thought it was super cool.
And Roots, I instantly by the time when I got to the next to last scene, I thought, well, this might be a contender for the Jerry Rice Award this year for best hands. And then when we got to the very last scene, I thought this is definitely a contender for the Jerry Rice Award for best hands.
Yeah, it was completely different hands, completely. But I'll tell you what, it was, it was the whole story was really cool, and like you said, it was dark. The way it was not what I expected, and that's what I liked about it. Right, that's what you want in an engaging story is something sci-fi. You go into expecting one thing, and you get something completely different.
So our friend Voidcat joining us in the chat says, "How long is it?" Well, never mind. I was about to get super gross with that. Anyway, it's about 30 minutes long. I have no idea how much the price is, but I will tell you that this publisher published Gloomy Eyes. This is the publisher that published Madrid Noir, so I would expect it to be right around that $6 to $8 price range, and I would recommend it at that
Worth it.
price range.
Do you know when it's coming out? Hey, Todd, what's going on? Todd's coming in, sliding in the chat.
Hey, what's
Let
up,
me
Todd?
let me check my email here to make sure that Steam just says November, and I'm not exactly sure if we have an exact day for it. I got to imagine it's soon. They let PD stream the damn thing the other day.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it's
and by the way,
if it's anything under $10, this is so worth it. I mean, even I think I'd pay even $10. Would
Yeah,
you pay $10,
yeah.
Bruce?
yeah, yeah,
I think
Well,
absolutely.
it's instantly. This is instantly one of my top two or three uh, of these interactive stories
yeah.
that I've experienced in VR. I can only think of like one or two that are this quality. And
Did
really, I mean, in some ways, this is the best quality that I've ever seen in one of these
yeah.
things.
Did you like it better than Madrid Noir?
Oh yeah. This is better than Madrid Noir,
Yeah, I thought
hands
so too.
down. Really, the only one I can think of off the top of my head that I really put on this level is Wolves in the Wall.
Wolves.
I really love Wolves in the Wall.
Yeah.
Gloomy Eyes was cool too. Um,
I
I don't
think
know,
I,
man.
th-
I
I
can't
think
think
this
of a
might be
lot.
my favorite.
Yeah, it's
I think
really
I'm put
good.
I think I'm putting it above Wolves, and I loved Wolves in the Wall, man. But
How dare
this
you?
was I know, right? I'm sorry.
How
I'm
dare
sorry.
you, Mash?
I
The
take it back.
hell?
I know it.
Well, here's the thing. I've got a date in my email, and I don't think it's available on Steam. So
Hmm.
I don't think that this date. I don't think they hit their date.
Okay. Well, yeah, this
I'll
is
check
Biolum
Steam again.
Simplex, and Damo says 30 minutes is pretty short. It is a little short, I guess. Depends on what you're looking for and how much the
Not
cost
not
is.
for these not for these types of experiences. How
Right.
many of these
Hmm.
interactive experiences have you played that are 30 minutes long? Most of them are 15 or 20 minutes tops. Some of them are 2 and 3 minutes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's true. Plus, people will spend about $20 to go to an IMAX for 30
Mhm.
minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, think all the ones we've seen recently. Battle Scar, that was short. Gloomy Eyes is short. Wolves in the Walls is a little bit longer because it's like a two act thing. They have like a little break in the middle. But Madrid Noir, again, another, what's that, 20 minutes, something like that.
Oh,
Madrid Noir.
it's definitely not out yet. We're not saying it's out, Damo.
Yeah, we
We're
just know
saying
when.
yeah, we just don't know when it'll come out. It's got to be soon. Wes got a good point. Several people have put videos out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, Steam just says November 2021. The date they gave me was last week, and it's not out yet. I don't know why in the world it wouldn't be out. It's ready. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
ready.
I'm going
So
to
I don't.
disagree with Damo. Damo says, I'm just telling you these types of games will fade. I don't think so. I think they're going to go the opposite way. I think you're going to see more of these, and they will be a little bit longer, and you're going to see higher quality. You're going to see more actors that want to get in and do these things. I think it's going to be the opposite. I think you're underestimating the effect that these things have.
mm,
You're underestimating the effect that smaller, lighter headsets are going to have on people staying in VR longer and wanting to spend more time in VR. Think about having like the Vive Flow and being able to do
mm,
this with the Vive Flow on that weighs a quarter, almost less than about half of what the Quest 2 weighs, and being in there for 45 minutes to an hour, or maybe an hour and a half, and not have to worry about what the weight is. I think the production value is going to go up, and more people are going to want these.
yeah,
Too bad
absolutely.
Viflo don't have a controller. You won't be able to swim,
Oh,
bro.
Oh, that's true.
that's
You don't
true.
really need to.
I don't want to swim.
You just need to push the button. And
Did you guys see that new headset they announced this past week that has 2 screens per eye, and it's a compact form factor headset that has field of view like Pimax.
okay,
What?
oh, that's crazy. That is
Yeah.
crazy. Damo says he thinks we're overestimating. See, we're looking down the road, and we're not looking at this. But you say the experiences in general. This is the thing. People aren't going to the movies like they used to. Hollywood is dying. This is a new form of art in a sense. And you saw a transition. This is almost a decade ago or more. There was a point where there was no real movie stars in television. It was rare, like a lot, like not the movie stars, right? You would say that the top tier. And then there was a move where all of a sudden you saw them in everything, right? And that became the norm. And what I'm saying is, or what Mash is saying, you're going to start seeing mainstream actors in all of these things. People are going to want to go to these experiences for them, for your favorite actor or the how good whoever it is. I would go to somebody, but I can't stand this actor anymore. But they've ruined a lot of things. But there's just so much potential for stuff like this, and there's a reason why this particular developer is this is their third one, right? I mean, if they weren't making money,
Oh
if they
no, no,
weren't,
no. Let me be clear. Publisher. These are not the developers that made these other titles that we were talking about. This publisher handles this type of experience and markets it to people. Uh,
mm,
this publisher brought us Gloomy Eyes. They brought us Battle Scar, Eric mentioned a moment ago. They brought us Madrid Noir, but it wasn't the same developer that are doing all of these. It's different developers.
yeah.
That
Well,
makes
somebody's saying people don't even care for 3D movies. Well, this is different, man. This is like you're talking about looking at a screen with a three-dimensional that's somewhat 3D, or I guess as good as it can be in VR. It's a lot better, but if you could be
And
in
you know
these
what else?
experiences, right? If
You
you're
know what else? Like I never saw a 3D TV that was $300, $400. Like I wanted a 3D TV when they were out. I couldn't afford it. That's why they went. They didn't ever catch on. They were always, $1,000, $1,500, and I never could quite afford it back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm just
Yeah, and you
saying
have
that
a,
the technology is gonna be amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you have different people now coming into VR. I mean, VR is so much more accessible now. You have different type of people. You have mothers and grandmothers and grandfathers that are not in it just to game. They want experiences. They're not looking for, every, they're not looking for the next Half-Life Alex. They're looking for the next experience that they can go, wow, this is amazing. And this is one of those things. I mean, I would love to put my mom in this and let her watch this. You know what I mean? It would just knock her socks off.
And it's interesting that you say that because this initial descent when you start Biolum was heavily reminiscent of Ocean Descent on PlayStation VR, which was probably my first, demo that I showed to multiple people, and everyone just jaws dropped. There was a lot of similarities with the beginning of this and the beginning of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's about time we move on. I think we pretty much gave this one a glowing recommendation. This might have been my favorite thing I did this week. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to put my whole family in it before I uninstall it. I really liked it. Well done. Uh, all those who are involved, you deserve the awards that you have won for it. So well
Yeah.
done, and
Yeah.
thank you again to Estrella for sharing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Definitely.
absolutely.
Good thought. I got people coming for Thanksgiving tomorrow. They're going into this.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely.
You could put 3 people in there and they could do the whole thing in,
Oh,
hour and a half. Right?
I do have a couple negative things to say. Not really about the experience itself, but I did initially try to boot this on virtual desktop, and it did not run for me in virtual desktop. I then moved over to G2, and it tried to boot in G2, but it didn't, which I found surprising because after you get into it, you can see that there are settings specific to WMR, specific to Vive, specific to Oculus. It would only boot for about 3 seconds in my G2 before it just kicked me back out and
Hmm.
into the menu again.
Hmm.
So I don't know what's up with that, but wired blink worked well, and I cranked it up to 150% resolution, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah. I ran Airlink and it worked great too. I ran my Quest 2 with Airlink, and I think I'm going to try this tomorrow with my Valve Index. It's time to get that Valve out. This is a perfect game to check with the Valve because you get the field of view right with
Yeah, why
this.
don't you go through Ubris again while you're at it?
Oh man, that's a good idea. I didn't. That's right. Yeah, I never did that with the Valve. I got to get the Valve out. I got to get it out. Start using it more.
Yep. I've never tried one.
I may have to. I may have to send it to you. Somebody use it.
I don't, I would accept that, but I'd be afraid your controllers would break while they're here.
Oh, dude.
And
Dude. Have
I
Jim Hall
would,
fix them.
Well, if they break, you could just buy Vive ones.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I love those trackpads. Anyway, those two titles. We did play some pure VR games this week, and our last title that we're talking about today certainly fits that bill. ARK-ADE. We played. Did this recently? It fairly recently came to Oculus, didn't it? This is another one that I think launched on Steam as well. Yeah, it came out on Steam on October 26th. Give me just a second, and I'll give you
The rundown.
the Oculus launch date for this. This is an App Lab title. There is a free demo, by the way, and that was my first experience in arcade. I guess I should say that. I played this game months and months ago during the Steam Next Fest, not the most recent one, but the one before that. I played the demo for this. There's a demo available on App Lab. I think there's one available on Steam as well. $20 for this. It launched on October 26th on both platforms. And the developer here is Castello Incorporated. Thank you to Castello Incorporated for providing review access. Roots, we often describe these retro futuristic games as being sucked into an arcade machine and trying to survive. Um, arcade, quite literally, is you getting sucked into an arcade machine and trying to survive. What did you think about it?
I was blown away. I was blown away about a lot of things, Wes. The gameplay, especially the gameplay. If you're just looking at how everything goes or how this is interacting, I just like the old school feel of it, right? Your gun is your gun until it's not your gun. As you're hitting different things that change it, right? You're hitting the machine gun, you're hitting the shotgun, you're hitting whatever that's out there, and it. I guess it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to be using that weapon if you don't grab it, right? But the biggest thing that it seems to me, and I don't know if you guys tested this out, it seems that there's multiple ways you can move around this map because like I've gone in one way and I've thought, wasn't I maybe I should have gone that way, and it looked like that was the way, and then it was not. It was like totally the other way. There seems to be like multiple different directions you can go to get to the same place, which I guess is kind of cool. So
Yeah, there's certainly branching paths, and it's funny that you say that because on my last level that I played through, I noticed, every time you finish a level, they give you a stat rundown where it tells you, how many enemies you killed, this, that, and the other thing, how many points you scored. I noticed the last level that I completed, one of the stats on there was how many of the secrets you found. Like I didn't
oh
know there were secrets.
Yeah.
I knew there were branching paths. I didn't know there were secrets. I didn't find any of them, but I will now. um, Eric, a pretty standard concept here, right? This is a fairly linear, now not perfectly linear, because what Roots is saying is true. There are probably 2 to 3 different paths in most of these levels that you can take, left, right, or center. But it's a pretty linear, uh, pretty standard arcade shooter here. But where I think it shines is the vibe, and it doesn't seem like it's half baked. Like um, in terms of the shooting gameplay, I guess I should say that. I do feel like there's probably a little more they could have done to make this game better, but I don't think they could have done a lot to improve the the shooting aspect of the gameplay. It's we've said it a bunch of times already. It's hard to fuck up shooting in VR, and this is just another example of that, if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, they're not, reinventing the wheel here. This is a standard, shooter, wave shooter. That you have to move through a level to get to the boss at the end. But that's okay. I like
Yep.
this shit. This is the ones I like. I like having fun. Now I want deep games and I want Lone Echo too, and I want all that other stuff. But there's a lot of times where I want to go play Yuki, or I want to go play Returnal, or I want to go play something I can just jump into and just shoot shit and have a good time and chase leaderboards and do it. Now this has to be done right. The shooting has to be right. The controls have to be right. The movement has to be right. They nail all those points here. The vibe, the Tron kind of vibe is so cool. The visuals are great. It's not super deep. That's the only thing. I would like more depth.
Yep.
That's something I think they could even add. You know what I mean? That's something you could always work on and add and keep, and put something in it later. But from what I played so far, I love this game, man. This was probably my favorite game to play. I mean, I loved everything we played this week, but this is just my kind of game. I just like getting in these games and having fun. This is the kind of game where I have to go, let me look at the time because I don't want to miss the start of the show because I got to get myself out and get ready. This is that kind of game because this is like I want to do one more. I want to do one more. I'm looking at the leaderboards. I'm looking at the scores. I'm looking at how I can get better. I want headshots so I can get higher scores. So stuff like that. So yeah, they're not reinventing the wheel, but you don't have to every game.
Yeah, it's a basic arcade shooter, and that's okay. That's it's fun, and we've got Damo 9001 in the chat who says if VR keeps pumping out gun games, it'll bore people, and people will just play games on Steam Deck. That would be true if VR were only pumping out gun games. There's a wide variety of different genres, and there's a pretty solid foundation of new genres now in VR. It's not like everything's gun games. I mean, this is an App Lab title, dude. Like, this isn't like on the front page of Oculus or anything. I mean, we've got, I mean, literally everything at this point in VR, just about. So I really don't think that people are going to get shooter fatigue. For every one new VR shooter that comes out, there's 10 new flat ones. So it really don't that really don't hold water in my opinion. Um, yeah, is it going to be game of the month? Probably not. But was it fun? Did I enjoy it? Yeah, sure. Do I? You know, um, I think it does enough to stand out. Like whenever you're doing this type of game, you just don't want to kind of fade into the as Damo points out the already large catalog of VR shooters. And I think through the style of the art and the just the experience of being in this retro world, it stands out well. Well, you know what it really reminded me of a lot, Roots, is Dimension Hunter. I felt kind of like I was playing Dimension Hunter when I was playing this game.
Yeah. I don't know that I ever played that actually. I think Anthony said he really enjoyed that one. I don't know that I tried that one. I did
Yeah,
enjoy this one, and that's the only thing I can base it on. I can only base on how much I enjoy a game, and I play a lot of flat games as well. And one of my favorite flat games of 2021 is Hades on the PlayStation 5, and it's one of the most simplistic, flat, deep, amazing games that I've ever played. And so like there's different games that come out, and I enjoy this one for what it is. And not every game has to be the Lone Echo 2 or the draw of VR. We've got RE4 to draw people into VR. We got San Andreas coming into VR. This game is not going to pull people into fucking VR with a headset, dude. What it will do is let you enjoy on rail shooter if you enjoy those type of games, and if not, then I would suggest not to get it. Like that's common sense, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, these
Yeah,
games don't have to be for everybody, right? I mean, people say this all the time. They're like, well, I don't like that game, or that game's no good. Well, not everybody wants, Lone Echo, or not everybody wants a big long story game. It's okay. We can have different games, right? We don't have to have one style of game. We don't have to all have cinematic $60 experiences, do we? I mean, like,
I
can
don't
I
know.
have is it okay if I have a bowling game? Is it okay if I have a rhythm game? Is it okay if I have a sports
no,
game or a golf
no
game?
more, no more rhythm games, except
That's true. That's true.
except against. I'm totally pumped
Yeah.
for against.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Well, but there is logic to what he's saying in this respect, that there is a lot of games out there, and we've said it before, rail shooters in general. And so a lot of these devs, they're going to have to think outside the box when they bring a rail shooter to the table. And I think this one did, with the artwork and with the gameplay. There's a lot of nuances. Now, the only thing that I didn't make it as far as you. One thing that I guess criticism that I would have liked, or maybe they could change, or maybe they plan on changing. I got through the first few levels, and the last boss was the same boss,
Yeah,
just a
it's
little
always
bit different. And so I was like, I'd like to see a little bit different bosses if that's possible as well. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was glad that they did come through with a little bit of variety with the maps and enemies as you go along. But the boss is kind of rinse and repeat, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's probably the biggest complaint about the game. I do like that that the enemy set does expand. Um, you know what I really liked? I liked the chain gun. Did you guys get a chance to use like the mounted chain gun?
I have not. I did not.
I
And
don't think I used that. I don't think I got to use the mounted chain gun. No, I had, I probably had about 5 different weapons. Did you get the grenade launcher? I got that one. I didn't get
oh
the
yeah,
chain gun.
yeah. I got like there's one of the levels. You come into this area where there's dudes in boats, and the boats have turrets in them, and they're blasting you pretty hard.
Mm.
But you end up finding this unmanned turret that's got a chain gun
Oh.
on it, and you grab it with both hands, and I mean, you can melt everything on the screen, and there's a ton of enemies. It's super fun. They do a lot right here with regards to this style of game. But again, Eric said it. You're not really reinventing the wheel here. There isn't a whole lot here that we haven't seen before. But again, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
As long as it plays right, and it does, I'm cool with it. And I really dig the vibe and the aesthetic, which is kind of the thing that brings you back.
You know what's kind of cool that I noticed near the end, and I just saw it on the screen in real time, is the you're in this arcade game, right? And so like when you're standing there at the boss or after the boss, you can look up and you can see there's the screen, right? But it's backwards. It's got all the score and everything, but it's changing and shit as you're playing. That stuff is in real time. It's really happening on the other side of that screen. There's really a person out there, Wes, and he's playing, and it's cool, man. I don't know. I felt like I really was sucked into this machine. You can say what you want. I think that adds a lot of is the vibe of immersion, right? And this game really made you feel like you were in that world, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, shades of Ivanovich, who did
Arcade.
something similar, and also early what was it? Duck Season did that
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah, Duck
Yep.
Season.
Yeah. My only criticism of this game is just I wanted more. I wanted just a little bit more. You know what I mean? I thought everything was done well. Just give me a little bit more. I was talking to you guys earlier. I said I want a little bit more meat with the potatoes. I want a little more depth. You know what I mean? I want weapon progression. I want maybe character, a little bit of individual character progression. Make it like a roguelite. You know what I mean? Make it a little more difficult. Make it like if you die, you start back from scratch, which I never died, so maybe you do. I don't even know.
Yeah, I,
But make it. What level do you guys play on? I just played the normal level, I think.
yeah, I put it on normal. I agree, though. I think that this game would probably work better as a roguelike, honestly. Which I don't know. One of the things I like about the later levels is the diversity in it. So,
Mm.
you run the risk if you make it a roguelike of it kind of getting a little samey with all the levels. So I don't know, but I get what you're saying there with the progression. It is very basic. It's a straightforward arcade shooter. You don't need to know what the story is, even though the backstory is kind
Mm.
of cool. It really don't matter. You're in an arcade game. There's bad guys. You're shooting them, and that's basically all you need to know.
Yeah.
Look at that! Look at that, dude. That's kind of nuts. Like, I love VR. I just love being inside these games, and it probably wouldn't appeal to someone from a different generation. But we grew up playing these games right from the other side of the screen. So for us, it's just kind of cool to be on the inside, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Damo making sure that we know that he's just being the cynic, dude. It's you don't have to say that. We have a couple of cynics, and we love them all the same. It gives us something to talk about when we have the contrarian in the chat. So thank
Yeah.
you for filling that role for us tonight.
And I've said
Yeah.
everything you're saying. I've said before. That's my biggest gripe about VR is it is the depth of the gameplay, right? And that it needs to get better, and it is getting better. And especially with all these flat games or these AAA games being brought in, because AAA games that there's a formula that has kept people in gaming for 20 years, and VR is just finally bringing that in, and we're seeing that in the last year, really, with the persistences and the games that the depth of what they're doing in there and the progression that didn't exist in 2016, 2015 when Damo got into it with the DK1, man. That was the very, very shallow shit. The most deep game you could have played on a DK1 probably was Crashlands or Crashland back in the day, right? That was actually pretty deep for back then. So
Yeah.
Crashland is awesome by today's standards,
yeah.
and like I don't think enough people talk about that because it's a game that came from one dude. He puts zero effort into marketing it. He just put the game out there and let it speak for itself, and not enough people uh, put the kind of time into it that you need to because it's not easy. It is not easy. It's very difficult. And
Oh,
of these arcade style shooters that I've played this year on Quest, I think Crashland's
amazing.
probably easily my favorite one. Like I love Crashland.
Yeah, I
It's so
said
good.
that was contender for game of the year. It's the first time. Remember when I made that video? It was like an ode to Wes to show him how good this game is. Wes, you need to check it out. type of thing. And I think Wolf Raza's mind just got blown by Damo when he said, he asked him, he's like asking, what do you play? He said, finally, fine, I play Google Earth.
Oh, so good. I just had the best idea ever.
It is amazing though.
Like Crash Land split stream.
Oh, that would be cool too.
Hell
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
That game's so tough too. Yeah.
Yeah, those rounds go so quickly. We could almost alternate with it.
It'd be so fun because you're gonna take different perks and stuff. Everybody, gameplay is a little bit different. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
then you guys are going to learn the secrets, and like
well.
people are going to come and take my spot on the leaderboard.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping I can figure out what you do so I can do it better.
Well, I will say this: I will be revisiting Crashland this month. So if you want to do it live, I'm all for it.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's do it live.
Let's do it.
On that note, friends, I think we are about to call it a show. I want to thank you all for staying up late and talking a little VR with us. What do you think? Which of these games is more your speed? Are you full on arcade blaster like arcade? Arcade like arcade? Are you more of a experienced type person like Biolum, or are you somewhere in the middle like Retropolis? Let us know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, please hit the big red button, ring the bell, make sure that you are able to be notified when our content hits YouTube, because we got new stuff coming, guys. We got new stuff in the works, more new stuff, and that you guys are really going to dig On Location coming very soon. I do think we're going to start rolling those out before the end of the year. So if you haven't already, button in the bell. Big shout out to our patrons out there. Want to thank all of the new patrons that have joined over the last few weeks. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Todd. I shouldn't have started reading them off. Now I'm going to forget somebody.
Well, you don't have to read it off. We'll have a list at the end.
Yeah. Thank you, Tasselhoff. Thanks to everyone who support us on Patreon. If you'd like to donate and help us to continue to improve and build our channel, you'll find a link to our Patreon in the description down below. $3 per month gets you access to our weekly show notes. It gets you insider updates. It gets you exclusive content such as my playthrough of Retropolis that I'm going to be uploading tomorrow, all for less than $1 per week. And again, you know that your money's going to a good place, so that we can buy After the Fall on every platform and play it with you guys. One more thing, maybe you don't want the discussion to end. Well, it doesn't have to. You'll find an invitation to the Virtual Strangers Discord down below, which we all have tuned in all day, every day, at the ready, so that we can engage in VR talk at any given moment. So, again, invitation down below. Come and join us in our home, Mikasa Zukasa.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Great place.
Anyway, with that said, friends, I hope you all have a Thanksgiving. We would like to thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow in After the Fall, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever's gonna be a Wolvie, we'll see you there, bro.
Hell yeah. I'll be there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Screw
Thanksgiving. I'll be there.
Anyway, with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots and Eric, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, friends. Good night.
Take it easy.
See you later.